You are listening to the USDN on the DFPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody? It's the chairman of the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. And tonight, we're going from the editor's chair to the creator's desk. We're joined by Michael J. Williams, a comic writer, editor, screenwriter, and one of the most quietly influential figures in indie comics today, with credits at Advent Comics, Grok Comics, Champion Comics, Alter Ego Arts, Super Serious Comics, Mazzi Productions, and as editor-in-chief at Ink Studios, Michael has helped shape over 40 crowdfunding campaigns contributing to projects tied to Wesley Snipes, Austin St. John the Red Ranger, and Justin Gray, from creator-owned worlds like Wild Ani and Iron Jaguar to hosting comics and Pop-Tarts. And it better be cookies and cream Pop-Tarts. That's the only Pop-Tart that ever should be talked about. Michael bridges creation, curation, and community. And tonight, we're breaking it all down. Michael, welcome to the podcast, my dude.
I appreciate you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Hey, no, welcome on, man. I know we were talking beforehand about a lot of stuff, and I got a nice little show planned out for us. So let's dive into it, man.
Let's dive in.
So you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Writer, editor, screenwriter. What came first and what pulled you into comics originally?
So the ideal dream was never comics initially. It was the silver screen. I watched a lot of movies, TV shows, cartoons growing up. I was always a vivid storyteller during playtime. I wish I would have kept the journal. It probably would be a book in its own right. Mm-hmm. Every toy in my room had a role. And when I noticed that I could write about 14, I wrote a small fantasy series based on a mystical set of armor called the Armor of Aldelon. And I put writing down for a little while until I had kids, got married later in my late 20s. I decided to go into game design. I know it's a far left from telling stories.
It's a huge far left.
Yeah. So I was at a
But you're still telling a story, though.
Yeah, so I thought I would be able to tell stories up until I think it was after Assets, right before programming. We had a class on visual storytelling that let us play with some of the physics in Unity. And in that class, one of the big things highlighted in bold on one of the notes for one of the assignments was, if you plan on telling story in video games, game design is not the program for you. I wish they would have told me that year one. So I had a small family tragedy, and my grandma passed away. I had hurt my shoulder at work, and I was kind of caught in between. What do I want to keep on telling stories, or what do I want to keep on doing game design, or do I want to tell stories? So I swapped from game design to creative writing for entertainment, and I'm like, cool, new journey. We'll finish this program, get my bachelor's. I'll move to California, my native hometown of Orange County, San Clemente, where I was born in '88. COVID happened, unfortunately.
Of course. Yeah.
That uprooted a lot of things, including raising a family in California, and then the economic side of it was just too expensive. And I know from reading lots of articles through the Washington Post and New York Times, a lot of the bigger ones that talk about kind of the movie and entertainment industry, that it's really hard to raise a family and come up as a starting writer for screen. I never gave up on that dream, though. So I dived right into the master's degree program the year I graduated with my bachelor's. I finished in 2021. During my bachelor's degree program, rolling it back, I had a class with Roland Mann. Roland Mann is an artist in his own right, worked on Catwoman back in the day, did a lot of the Marvel tops. He runs Silverline Comics now. But my class with him taught me how to write comics, taught us how to letter and work the programs. And I was kind of starry-eyed, and then also super mysteriously and somewhat inspired to know more. So I kept doing that for a while, got hooked into a writing group, and we were trying to make a novel happen. That didn't work out. And then when I finished my master's degree program, I was kind of in the earlier stages of what would become Comics and Pop-Tarts. I was interviewing a creator that I'd met in 2017 that I'd interviewed for a project. And then Anthony was my first client, asked me to edit a book called Thirst, which is part of Limitless Comics. That was my first gig. And this was out of nowhere. I didn't seek him out. I wasn't applying for comics jobs. I did the editing work on the book. Funny enough, that book actually coincided with Karen Sadie Dorbo as one of the prize covers. She's also the co-creator of Blade's Daughter for Marvel.
Okay.
I thought that was really cool. That didn't happen until years later, but it's a nice go back and look that your name is stacked next to someone of that caliber.
I will say that run was really good, though. I don't read a lot of Marvel, but Blade's Daughter and also the what was it, the Red Band edition of Blade that featured his daughter, was top-notch stuff.
The Bloodline series is probably one of Blade's best series since probably like 2018, 2017. Like if he'll just keep slaying vampires, I'd read Blade all day long. It's when they like throw. I mean, some of his Defender stuff and his cameo appearances and Midnight Suns and all that.
Yeah, Midnight Suns.
That wasn't too bad, but anything outside of Blade's normal atmosphere, aside from the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, it's just he gets B-rated so bad compared to like Spider-Man or Iron Man or anything like that.
Yeah.
But after that first initial comic, we worked together for a long time, and I was trying to figure out ways to kind of help his comic studio get a little bit more renowned. And that's when I dived into like the podcast setting. And then after that, man, I just started talking to creators, and Comics of Pop-Tarts was born. And from that, I ended up getting approached by the gentleman at Ink Studios, and then he asked me to be a copy editor, did some work for him. Then he asked me to be editor-in-chief, and then that's when the crowdfunding stuff. And once that came into play, I had access to indie people all the time, and I just picked their brain, invite them on shows. We do interviews, and from that, I got a few jobs here and there. I answered a few submissions, like at Grok, for some of the shorter stories. Like one last year we published with Meltdown Press. It was a fairy story in the House of Haunts. I'd have to get you his name. He's running for office in his hometown right now. But yeah, man. So when the
kind of wild, ain't it?
Yeah, it's like one thing went from another thing to another thing, all because of.
So in Grok Comics is the reason why you're sitting here now, is because we have a mutual friend that works also on Grok Comics.
Oh yeah, Matthew Gisso. He did editing for Bill for a long time. It's not working for him right now, but he did do some fantastic things with Black Cobra on his way out, before he did the episode with you on his new book.
I'm about to have him back on. Him and Raymond will be on here soon to discuss their newest Kickstarter that will be starting here soon as well.
Awesome.
So he's becoming a repeat offender over here at the USDN, and we're not mad at him. We love having him on. He's a great brain to pick for anybody out there.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable about early comic year stuff. I loved working with him. We worked great together. He gave me lots of great notes. He learned some stuff from me. He actually got me a job. Someone had approached him from WKTJ Collectibles, and they wanted him to write they pitched him to write a comic series, a parody about Sesame Street versus the Muppets. And he's like, I don't know, Mike. So he reached out to me and he's like, I really want to, but I don't know if I'm equipped to write this, but I know you love to write stuff. And so ended up writing this. It's called The Muppets Got Talent. This is the
That's
Batman
awesome.
feature. You can go to WKTJ on Facebook and order any one of these. That's kind of hard to see. I'll send you a picture of it. But but there's just wild how things pinball from one event to another, and you meet someone and they tell someone else, and all these things happen. The Ink Studios ride was kind of a really cool thing because it gave me some professional credits. We got to work on Bigfoot Moonshine, and that was through Image Comics.
And that was a early 2000s thing there.
Oh,
the Bigfoot Moonshine, or is that more recent?
No,
it sounds familiar. I just can't place the year on it.
Yeah, so I think it started in 2022, and it was coming. It's either 2022 or 2023, and it finally came together at the end of 2025. To his credit, though, Howard was releasing digital files like Exiled did with Lawson up until they got to the point where they can print and send it off. But it was a great series. It also led me to have a real good friendship with Austin St. John, who's coming to Biloxi in February 14th and 15th. We talk off and on. I loved his comic Redemption. I've been trying to talk him into hiring me on helping him finish it. We'll see.
That's I thought Boom Studios was working on that one.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten any updates. I think I went about 6 months without talking to him. He's got really busy with.
He's been having his con schedule has been out of the world.
Yeah, it's his con schedule, and he's been working really hard with Fanword to build that platform. It's a subscription-based platform where you get to interact with him and the original Black Ranger and a few other actors.
Yeah, I did see the big announcement they did for that, and also seen the. It was like a 40 or 45 minute show they did on YouTube that just kind of explained their experience and what they went through while working on Power Rangers, which I thought was a really, really great thing they did to kind of tell people how it was working in that time frame. So,
yeah, but a lot of that stuff happened the way it did, so other cool things could happen, like Jason coming back as the Gold Ranger. I thought was a really great homage. And then the other episode he did with Ultimate Red, where all the Red Rangers came back, which is one of my favorites because they had the old what was the name, the Kamen Rider costumes that were actually the evil ones in the Beetleborgs series that had nothing to do with Power Rangers at all.
Hey, you gotta cut corners and save money where you can, man.
Yeah, no, it was cool to see them all there, though. It was a great episode. So
just flashback to the 90s there, man. I love it.
But yeah, I got sucked in. I didn't ask. Comics is a profession I didn't ask for, but once I got asked to come into it, it became an inspirational thing. I got to meet so many people with so many ideas, concepts, stories, and everybody was working so diligently and putting their all in on it that I just kind of fell in love with the concept. And it's still remotely similar to screenwriting, if not even more visually impactful than screenwriting, based on some of the techniques to the comic script style. If you study into it, like I got really deep into the way that Brian Michael Bendis writes his stuff, so much so that I've bought a lot of the comics that have the screenplays that they made the artwork with in the back, and I've studied that. That's kind of helped format my technique and improve upon that. But that also allowed me to help others as an editor from the editor's chair on conceptualizing story, understanding your characters so that you can progress with them, how to come up with obstacles and conflicts that make sense and actually challenge your characters. I think a lot of indie comics that I've come across, not too many, but some of the more amateurish ones that we all still support, where they fall flat is the obstacles just aren't realistic, and they don't really challenge their characters enough.
Yeah.
So being able to write, edit, and then the background on my degree side, along with the marketing that I got to experience, allows me to do a lot from the editor's chair when I'm in that position. That's been actually absolute joy, because I get to help people grow, and I get paid to read comics while helping them improve their product.
Dude, that's my favorite part of this, man, is getting to read comic books and meeting creators, and sometimes getting to put my eyes on comics before they hit the Kickstarter, or before, you know, they get to come to life elsewhere, and whether they're completed or halfway completed, or, you know, like I have a Bruno Catarino on tomorrow. One of his best-selling covers that he did was an idea I threw at him while we were like in the middle of a show, and I'm like, you know what, this cover right here would be great as a virgin. Strip it down, just give us the art underneath it, and I'm like, I'll personally buy one, that's for sure. He was like, yep, done. And sure enough, he's like, dude, I've sold so many copies of that cover.
Jeff gave me a really good cover for mine that actually influenced the story of Wild Oni just a tad bit, because he did such a great job. I was like, there's no way I'm not putting this in the book.
It's awesome how just the little ideas can turn out to be so great. But you mentioned Silver Surfer as your first comic book you ever read. What about that character has stuck with you?
Silver Surfer. So this was the reprint. I think it was like a 93 or 4 that I found at a treasure hut in Vegas. And it had a silver copy and it had a gold copy. And I just remember from the Pokemon TCG collector's brain side of me, I was like, I gotta have both of these. And this is back when comics at Treasure Hut were at 75 cents. That's how old we are. We were actually. But I actually got to reading it, and it was an interesting story. It's a guy who can't go home, and he sacrificed himself to be the usher of this galactic entity that consumed planets. And I just remember relating to him being trapped in between an unnatural force and this ability to pick and choose who dies. As a kid who grew up with lots of childhood trauma, because I was raised by an alcoholic for the majority of my younger youth, that was very relatable quality in characters. And I just, man, he was pure silver. He flew the space-time continuum on a board. I was born in California, so even though I didn't get to live there most of my life, I was still kind of like
a surfer kid.
Infatuated with dude, bruh, and the whole surfer lifestyle. So I grew up like my whole life. I was like, dude and bruh. Now I can't stand it. Like, that's what everybody says to each other now. Even women, I'm like, do not call him bro. And you two ladies shouldn't be calling each other bro. You're not bros. You're Bruce.
As the kids would say, you were reaching unk status, man.
I know, right? It's a shame, but I still look good, if not better than I did before. So,
hey, just a little grayer. That's all.
Yeah, just a few in the beard. That's why I got it braided. So I had it. That's
mine was red for about a month after I retired, and then I woke up one morning and it was just like gray. I was like, all right, I will accept this. At least it's not patchy and only grows in here and here, you know. I ain't Joe Dirt in it.
Yeah, you got a good duotone going on there. I earned all mine, so I'm gonna keep them in there regardless.
Oh yeah, even if I wanted to dye it, I couldn't do it. I tried to dye my hair once, and the gray shone out like brighter than the dye did. So I was just like, all right, I'm done. I won't ever try that again. I'm
a fan of all natural, so I'm just gonna leave it there. But yeah, man, that's why I just kind of stuck to Silver Surfer. Now I didn't read too much up after that because I was a big Pokemon nerd, and that kind of took up a lot of my time. So
let me ask you this: being a Silver Surfer fan, how did you feel about the female Silver Surfer being in the new Fantastic Four?
Man,
because I mean, she is a thing. It's not like they just pulled it out of a hat. she is real. She is actually in the comic books.
Yeah, no,
Not necessarily this storyline they're telling, but she is, an actual thing.
Yeah, I think I recall later on Silver Surfer's journey. I think it was in a what if. I can't remember or recall or recant the exact issue or run from what year or age that it was done, but his wife ends up taking over. So I'm a guy who appreciates when they do adaptations, they actually pull from source material and that's actually fact, and it's not some socioeconomic residual or redundancy that they're trying to push. Now, I did have a problem at first until I watched the movie during the trailer about it being more of like a the mother thing and how she needs to get everybody on board to save the world. But it wasn't until I saw that they were having a baby that it really got to me, because then I got excited because Steven Richards and Invisigirl's kid is one of the most powerful characters. It is also a protege of Dr. Doom himself, which if you think about Endgame, or no, if you think about Doomsday coming up, it says a lot about what's to come in the MCU. So I wasn't mad one bit. I liked the kind of, I don't know. It still felt like Silver Surfer. It just wasn't my Silver Surfer because they're pulling from different storylines. I'm still a fan of the
90s Silver Surfer so much. Like when the covers used to be the actual pressed silver,
Yeah.
They did Silver Sable the same way. Almost every issue of Silver Sable had that pressed silver.
Yeah, that was a new technique back then for printing. So
everything was getting one of those.
They abused the crap out of that. Image did it. Image did it too. I got a few.
I know. Oh yeah.
Of like full on just shiny covers all around.
I got a slab of Purgatory up there with the red foil.
Oh, nice.
The nice red like pressed foil too. It's in a 9/6. I don't know how it ended up a 9/6, but I'll take a 9/6 in a pressed foil any day of the week because I know how hard it is to do that, because you can't press it. You can clean it, but you cannot press it because then you press out the stamp in the foil.
Yep.
So, but to pull a 9/6, I'll take that 9/6 any day.
Yeah, but I was a fan of the original Fox Fantastic Four. I thought they did a great job. I didn't like the remake in between the original Fox ones and that one. I thought the Dr. Doom in that one was kind of silly.
I was about to ask you. You got to be specific because there was one in there that was like bad. Like
and I didn't even have an issue with the gender bending Flame original Flame guy. I just the emotions didn't make any sense. The romance part was kind of goofy. Dr. Doom was goofy. They did a pretty good job on the SFX for thing, but it just didn't feel the same, man.
Yeah, well, anytime Dr. Doom is seen as anything other than like a hard dude and just like one of the smartest men in the world, then I take offense to that because it's freaking Dr. Doom. Like put some respect on that shit when you say it, But let's press, man, because we can sit here and talk Fantastic Four and that all day.
Moving on.
How important is it for indie creators today to understand maybe not all sides of the business, but multitudes of like facets of the business?
It is imperative.
Especially Kickstarter type stuff, because they're their own marketers, they're their own managers when it comes to it, making sure that timelines are being hit and communicating with people.
One thing I will say about being a traditional graduate from a degree program that I have over some of the indies is that you get told early on that you have so many paths to publishing. There's no wrong or right answer. However, you do have to choose a path. It is important for indies to know that if they are going to independently from the pocket publish, create, produce, every aspect of design, whether it be marketing, pre-writing as in like story Bibles, so your continuity for your product. You're not just writing stories, you're making product. You have to look at it look at it like this, and I'll use this analogy. In the morning times, I run a gas station. That's my job outside of comics. That's what pays the bills. In the morning, I count money, but I don't count money as value. I count them as individual bills. So I have 67 20s going into my deposit. When you're looking at comics, you have to look at the creative side, and then you have to do the business side. So you have to look at your comic as a product, not a story that you created. Therefore, you have to detach from the overall creative bias and stop treating it like your baby, and think about it in a way as, how can that baby make me money?
Yeah.
I know that's a horrible way to put it, because slavery is dead and gone, but that's a product. It's your story. Yes. If you drew it, great. Writer artists are hard to come by, but they're out there and they're doing great.
And there's a lot of them out there doing a lot of great things right now.
One of the greatest right now, I think, in indie is Mr. Fish Lee. If you ever have a chance to get him on your show, you ought to. He's a gem. He's a great dude, loves to help people. He's just slamming out there on social media, especially with his video content. His video content has just gotten extraordinarily funny over the years. But it's imperative to know the business side. You have to know what's marketable. When you're thinking about writing your next story, you have to see what's out there selling. If you have a universe you're trying to build, unfortunately, universe buys are kind of dying, even though I'm the guilty one trying to build my own. But that doesn't mean that your stories can't sell in that market. That just means universe stories, especially in the superhero genre, are finally becoming niche. And it's just not something everybody wants. Once Something's Killing the Children came out, I mean, you could write Harriet Tubman was a vampire slayer. That's already been out there.
Dude, that was a good story, though.
It was a great story. Winnie the Pooh stuff is some of that Winnie the Pooh stuff.
Although Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees is fantastic.
That one
IDW.
Yeah, so I actually so that one came across the desk when I was working with Geek Nation. I was writing like articles and analysis of comics, and that one actually came across the pool. I picked it out. I read it, and I was like, "Oh my god,
dude,
it's so not good. Appropriate for children." But damn, this story hits different.
So good,
so different. The twists in there, top notch writing,
dude. I don't want to spoil that one because I really would like people to go read that one, but. So you get the one twist, and then if it's the twist I think you're talking about, I didn't see that one coming because she come back for some major vengeance.
Oh yeah, nobody sees that coming. Nobody sees that coming at all. It's just like that's the twist that ends the first issue, and I was just like, oh my god, my head just like exploded with I have to know more.
Not just yours, his too.
Oh yeah. Go read it, kids. You got to find out in what context we're talking about exploding.
But yeah,
going back to the creators needing to know the business side is absolutely imperative. It used to be hard, but it's really not. So you can go to places like Comics Experience. I'm a graduate of there. I took the comics writing class.
So that one's really good, and there's also an artist one that's very similar to it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think Sabe, he's an Italian artist. He does oh shit, I can't think of the name of the title right now, but he was on the podcast recently, and he's a graduate from that art school in Italy, where they literally they teach you to draw comics.
Yeah, Italian artists are some of the most insanely talented artists out there.
2025 was my year of discovery when it comes to just not just Italian, but Canadians and the UK as a whole. Italian artists. Just there's so much talent out there in this world. Even so, Press does a horror series. One of their featured writers in one of their very first ones, that series is done now. The next series has taken over, but one of their writers in there was a Korean kid who wrote this Korean horror story for their comic book. And I was like, dude, that's amazing. Like, this young Korean kid just got published in an American comic book for just this amazing horror story that he wrote that he never thought would see the light of day.
That's awesome. And that's really cool because Koreans actually have some of the best
horror. Yeah.
They have
And
some
what's I've been trying to get him
terrible
on the
cryptids.
podcast too. He's just like, he's like, oh, my English. I'm like, dude, you speak English just fine. Come on the podcast. Let's talk about horror and Korean comic books and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Korean
And
cryptids are top notch when it comes. I put them
really
next,
are.
yeah, I put them next to Ireland's cryptids.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Some of the most gnarly, noxious, ghastly beings you'd never want to run into. Like makes Slender Man look like Poppy Playtime with
Oh yeah.
with a balloon, and it's not cousin It. He's turning into a little pansy and running away from them.
Yeah. Well,
So-
there's Pokemon based off the Ireland version of it. Drifloon is actually based off the Irish, folktale. Because
Oh,
he steals
nice.
kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those cryptids.
There's a lot of creepy Pokemon out there based on real life cryptids from countries, and Drifloon is one of those. He's based off the Irish one that you actually just mentioned because he steals children.
Biloxi, Mississippi has its own cryptids called Lantern Head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Apparently-
no.
Yeah, apparently people see like a being just walking around with like a head-shaped lantern, and they're not very nice. That's crazy.
Mississippi people there ain't very nice either.
I work at a gas station. I could tell you that firsthand.
I can get it firsthand. Exactly. So, what's the biggest mistake you see creators making before they launch a project? Because you got 40 crowdfunding campaigns underneath your belt. I know you've seen a few.
Out of the 40 that successfully funded, we did have over a dozen that failed. A lot of it came down to not being ready to launch. A lot of it came down to, and there are a lot of people out there, including the comics launch creator or the indie comics tribe folk. They talk about, you got to pre-launch 3 months out. Like if you're not collecting pre-notifications and looking at it as if you get 130 people to hit launch notify me at launch, then you can't look forward to that 30% of 130 people backing your campaign. And you only need less than 1,000 depending on what route you take to crowdfund. So you're doing this one of two ways, which is where I messed up as well. If you want to talk about failings, look no further than Wild Oni. I spent about $5,500 out of pocket to create that first issue. Had a lot of issues. One, my artist only got internet 5 days a week because he lives on an island. And then there was a language barrier. Yeah. So I ended up having to outsource the rest of the book to a company in Texas. That was a lengthy process that didn't lead to a whole lot. I wasn't mad about the issue. The issue looked great. At the outside of it was I could have just took those initial 6 pages and I could have crowdfunded to make the comic book, which I didn't know existed at the time because I didn't have the experience under my belt. But
yeah,
a lot of crowdfundings that were successful were those who were prepared. They did the 3 months out. They had all their assets in place. They did really well at defining what their story is and who their characters were. They had really good stretch goals, and they didn't have confusing tiers. One of the biggest things with people who choose the crowdfunding route
I've backed some that have just been like, I don't know what I'm backing. So I have to be very specific when I'm looking because I want the book. I don't want a bunch of the extra stuff. I'm just looking for this book, this cover, and this thing. And sometimes the only way to get that book, that cover, and this thing is to get a higher tier or something. And I'm like, I don't want the higher tier of that. I just want the book with this cover. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how do I pick that out? Because everything is so confusing.
I think a lot of people now that Kickstarter's more mature, they've added more features and stuff. A lot of people get hung up thinking that they need stickers and prints and they need plushies and keychains and acrylic.
I know people who do books and only books only, and that they will never do anything extra, just books. And I love that because it goes back to the KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, keep it simple. And some people could keep it simple. That's kind of where I messed up too in my campaign. I did more covers than I needed to, so my expenses were kind of blown. So my recoup budget, even though I only raised a little over 1,200, wasn't enough to put everything back into perspective. And then the economic side of it, the people where creators mess up the most is they're so they're so focused on the product in crowdfunding that they're not keeping their eye on what's happening outside of comics. So I don't care if you don't like politics, I don't care if you don't like finances, I don't care if you don't know what's going on in entertainment business. You need to keep up with that stuff so you can keep up with, well, how much is it going to cost to print? Who's still in business? If I'm going to outsource overseas, we need to be looking at things like international and foreign policies that are placing holds on, imported cargo carriers coming into port. Because if you have and I've heard this from other podcast sources and other creators before, if you ordered 150 books from a Chinese printing press and they didn't listen to the US and they put a hold
they're not going
on
to
that,
QA.
yeah, they're going to sit in port for 90 days until they release it, and then it's going to hold you back, and you have to explain that.
And there's still no guarantee on the QA of that, because you order 150 books, you may get 120, 125 books that are actually usable.
Yeah,
the rest of the 25 or the other what is that 20% are probably going to be hot garbage, misplaced staples, bad prints. So you got to take that into account as well. Yep. And I think it was 2022, because I forgot, a lot of the companies import paper from India.
Yeah.
And India was having a shortage of paper. So that's why we've seen such a huge jump in prices starting in 2022 as well.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, the company that does Wallace and Gromit, the clay they used also, I think, comes from India. So the new Wallace and Gromit movie that come out in 2023 or 2024 or whatever was actually like a 3-year delay because they couldn't get the clay from India to make the movie, which is wild. So
and if they had do their due diligence in post-production, they could have made sure that they had a third source or a second source or a fourth source, so that they
clay
could continue
only
production.
comes from one place in one country. Which is wild.
That's super wild. Yeah, because there's other countries across the world that have clay that they could buy. They may not have like established, I don't know if you call them clay mines, but clay corrals or clay businesses.
I don't know. I just know Wallace and that movie was good too. I'm a huge Wallace and Gromit guy. And but yeah. But wild, something simple like that, and like paper, the quality of paper, the card stock you use, the weight of the paper.
Well, you help make the point. You help make the point, though. That it's that factor right there that led to the delay. And if you can put off any delays in post production when you're designing your campaign, you have to be able to make a list of those variables. Like when you get done, if you use the Comics Launch Crowdfunder Planner, the one thing I didn't see in there is make a list of things that could like blot out your campaign. And write solutions on what you could do for all those mishaps that could happen, and see if you have the resources already to prevent those. If it's your work schedule that gets in the way, wake up early in the morning before you go to work and post. That one's knocked off the list. But if
schedule, that's what I do. I literally schedule posts for Instagram and Facebook.
If it comes down,
I got a show dropping.
Yeah,
money is a whole nother.
Yeah, if it comes down to money, though, that's where you should have planned before you even started. Which I would suggest you delay until you have the adequate money available, because that was also a problem for me. I didn't look outside of comics to see what was going on politically, and that ended up leading to raised prices in shipping, which blew my budget completely after I finished. And then the printing became an issue because printers. We're not only charging more money for proofs before you printed a run, like Kablam did. They charged $40 for a physical proof before you actually pay for the run, which I thought was outrageous. And then
so I've seen that go from anywhere between $8 to like $50 here lately, and
it's
wild. Wild that there's such a huge price difference between companies like that.
That's okay. I ended up finding a local source on the East Coast that does independent printing. So I thought that was actually kind of cool that an independent comic book creator found an independent printer.
PA?
Yeah.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know if he wants me to name his company, so I just won't talk about it. But I know who you're talking about because I know somebody else who uses them to print up there. Yeah. So and they're actually really decent in price. It's like less than 100 for a run of 25. So
which is really good.
it's really great. It's
Yeah.
actually what helped me get a lot of the copies that I have ready to fulfill. So I had to take that into account, but it's because I didn't look outside of comics that I wasn't able to see those types of things.
It's hard to too, because it's not really something, because you're writing a comic book. What does today's world have to do with that?
Yeah.
And it actually has everything to do with it, and how price inflations and everything plays into everything.
Yeah.
And I think it would behoove people to open their eyes to the world around them a little bit more, so they're not blinded as much by what's in front of their face. Because you want to produce this great comic book, but where's materials coming from? Where's colors coming from?
Yeah.
Where's your artists live? Because there's a lot of really good foreign artists doing a lot of really great work out there.
Yeah.
But sometimes political unrest in their country or internet blackouts could stop them from producing what you're looking for from them. So no, that makes a whole lot of sense. But let's talk about Wild Ani real quick.
Okay.
This was your first creator-owned title.
Yeah.
What made you decide this was your story that you needed to tell?
Man, look, I got.
I'm not gonna lie, the covers and everything I've seen from this book are so fucking cool.
So I pitched this as a Ghost Rider meets Hulk in the 16th century Japan. And the reason I say that is because it's a story of duality. I don't really have a good answer as to why that was the first. I remember working with Anthony on one of his Kickstarters. I believe it was for the first one. And he was like, hey, you want to put anything up here? I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, man. So I sat down one night and I thought about it. I'm like, I really dig sci-fi. I really wanted to tell a sci-fi. But at the same time, I was like, I really love samurais. And then I got back into, like, I'm a really big fan of history. I've written several short historical fiction stories. 2 of them were published. One of them is yet to find a home. But I'm a huge fan of The Last Samurai. I was a huge fan of Ghost of Tsushima. I'm still playing through Ghost of Yotai right now. Did Assassin's Creed the Samurai one. I just love the culture, and then it was being a fan of Power Rangers growing up, getting to meet Austin and working with him personally on his project that really got me into, like, the Bushido, the way of the samurai, the way of the martial artist. And I don't know, I just wanted to tell something. I just wanted to tell a story that was about duality that was really tragic. So I went and looked into the history in 1600s, around the time that things were rapidly changing in Japan. Toyotomi was becoming a sort of emperor. He was a Lord Regent. He was raised up from one of the greatest generals who unified Japan, and then he kind of built a cascading member of 5 or 6, and they gave him a different name, and then he became Lord Regent up until he expired. But I found a really cool story about a rebellious samurai in Tsushima that raised a small rebellion against the samurai from a fishing village. His name was Morichika, and he's a real character in time. And I thought that was a really cool story. So I kind of wanted to embellish upon that. It's historical fiction. I chose not to be as accurate with the historical elements as possible, as to reduce the pressure or backlash of anybody trying to scream the ires of misappropriation of culture.
Dude, it happens so often.
I've reached out.
You just want to tell a story, and a story is a story to me, unless you go in saying, "Oh, this is what really happened," and then you try to say, "Oh, it's nonfiction," and you're like, "Come on, dude." You wonder why people are yelling at you. If you go in saying it's a historical fiction, then there's a lot of people yelling about a lot of things here lately that, if you just take it as it is, as a form of entertainment, and there's no reason to yell you wrote something to entertain people. Be entertained. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. Don't read it.
So with the historical fiction and the background and the writing and all that, I was like, I want to tell a story of duality. The story is really about a guy who wants to avenge his family, but also has to learn how to become comfortable with who he has now become. Just like Spider-Man, who asked for or didn't ask for an incredible power, he took on a credible role of responsibility, which he has now done. His is a little different, though. He made a pact with an Oni demon from the land of demons in the culture of Japan. They call it the realm of Shinkai. The Shinkai is where all the Oni spirits come from. Different from the spirits that were made into Pokemon a long time ago. Those are more of like Animagi spirits. The original Animagi are the elemental gods they used to worship post 16th century, where a lot of the Native American culture gets their gods from, because they were living gods. You know, the water was alive, the grass was alive, the tree was alive, the air was alive, the rocks talk to you, you know, stuff like that. So he makes a pact with the demon. But this first issue is really just kind of stating the fact and the theme. And then in the issues to come, we're going to talk about how he rejects this. There's a force of samurai that exists to expire demons. If we're playing off, what was that movie that came out on Netflix not too long ago?
K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yeah, so it's kind of like that, where like they are charged with the power to keep these like portals closed.
Yeah.
And that's something that I discuss in the issues to come. Now, this is a long series. I've got, I think, 6 issues mapped out. I'm still working on the outline for 7 and 8. And then it turns into kind of like a Demon Hunter type thing. But one of the covers that Jeff Muth did, it was a human Oni in samurai armor at human level. Because, you know, Onis, the lore says they're about 6 to 10 feet tall, or 9 to 10 feet tall. They glow. They kind of look like giant red apes. They feed on destruction and death and all that other stuff, which is basically what it is. But it ties into a legend that I created within the lore of it, which makes him the perfect person, but not so perfect. And it's got a really banging twist. I can't wait to tell about his family, that involves his family and the Emperor of Japan. That kind of comes to a close, and I kind of want the end to be like an epic, or like this huge war kind of. Yeah, it's gnarly. It's kind of like the end of Lord of the Rings 3, The Return of the King. At the end,
I was going to go War of the Gods, when you see the gods fighting in the sky, in the heavens.
It gets pretty wild. It's wild Oni. It's pretty wild, man. And it's really cool too, because I've been working on. This kind of ties into Iron Jaguar just a little bit, where I have a.
Ooh, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you about that one next. So let me just give them a little background real quick.
Yeah.
So Iron Jaguar is rooted in mystical Mayan power, described as your version of the Punisher. What draws you to legacy style characters with cultural depth? That's where my question was going, and you were going there. But I wanted to get that question out of the way. Now you can go into Iron Jaguar.
So Iron Jaguar is a really cool character. I think that's about 6 years in the making now. He does not have his own series, but he has made cameo appearances in Champions Comics. He is part of the G-Men now. I finally got that in last year. And then from his pantheon, he's got a few cool characters. You mentioned the Punisher thing. That's actually American Lion. I'm not sure where the info came from, but he's part of the pantheon of Iron Jaguar. But Iron Jaguar gets his power from
whatever I got from the data you sent me. So
it's
so new, dude.
Do you see how important continuity is? And writers aren't perfect, man. You know how hard it is to be a writer and an editor. Yeah, to
Yes.
both edit yourself and edit other people because you're also the writer.
Yes.
So when you're writing, you're like, no, you can't do that, man. Go put this in your document over there. Okay, shut up. Look, I got this. I'll do it later. No, you'll do it now. It's an interesting conversation.
I mean, you heard me talking to myself about trying to get stuff out of a folder earlier. Like, hey, hang on, let me pull that from this folder real quick.
So in the back of Wild Oni, I do have a coming soon. It's a cover. It's an amazing cover done by Clovis Betabola. I've worked with him in the past. He did a lot of work for Tony and them. He worked on Miss Vengeance, which is a comic that was put out by Limitless Comics. The creator of that, Jerry Jones, really good friend of mine. We did a few
Not to
podcasts
be
together.
confused with the Dallas Cowboy owner.
No, not at all. He's also from the East Coast area. Really great guy. Super talented. He does a lot of the technical stuff too. But he did amazing artwork, and that cover is actually for a novel, but I'm gonna use it for some type of comic. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to do a one shot soon. I don't really have a series for him planned. His was to be sort of kind of the legacy character that kind of ties all these other characters in. So I have an anthology I started a year and a half ago that's got a bunch of the characters that I've been working on for the last 5 years inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a comic book. It's just a novel based, but it's enough to publish a cast of characters to get people interested in wanting to see a comic of them. I do have like a little mini series for Iron Jaguar planned, but I got to wait for funds to catch up. Tax season's coming and all that. But Iron Jaguar is a really interesting character that was inspired by the death of my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
So this Miguel Fiorello, which is a play on my name, Michael Florio, which is my family Italian surname.
Mm-hmm.
So Miguel Fiorello experiences the tragic death of his grandma, and his grandma sends him this shard. She worked for a biotech company that was developing a cure for cancer. My grandma died of cancer for the 4th time. She went into remission. It came back super aggressive, brain, lungs, all this other stuff. It was really tragic. The conversation I had with her is actually highlighted in the graphic novel outline I have for it.
Okay. I hate to hear that, man. Sorry about that.
It's one of those things that I got into writing for when I switched out of game design. Like I wanted to give people a voice to talk about the thing, because I feel like my grandma died without many options, and a lot of that has to do with the politics and healthcare that drastically and hopefully changes for the good here shortly. But there was the access to a lot of treatments around the world that you can't get if you don't move. My grandma was in her 60s. There's on a fixed income, retirement, couldn't do much. So it's just a tragic story. But the grandmother in the book sends Miguel this shard. This shard gives him access to a divine power source that I can kind of compare it to like the World Emerald in Sonic.
Okay, yeah.
But it's buried in Mayan tradition. So there is a city called Tikal that was taken over by the Spaniards during the hunt for El Dorado's fool's gold, way back in the late histories. I think it was like 1200s. The backstory there is the Jaguar goddess of death, comes to this ruler of Tikal and says that if you follow me, I have this underground city that I will protect all your people, because they were warring with other nations around them for land and all that, resources and all that. It wasn't just the threat of Spaniards, it was the threat of other clans around them. So they go into this subterranean city, and there's this huge power source. You could probably compare it to, Black Panthers, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
But it gave him incredible power. He learns about this and goes on the hunt to reclaim this, because once you're in the city, you're not supposed to leave. Unfortunately, he did, fell in love with his grandma and gave her a shard as protection. And with this shard, she unlocked the secrets to cure cancer. This inevitably leads to her death, and with it, a note for her grandson. And so in the graphic novel series that I'm getting edited soon is him running from this tyrannical corporation that wants this shard so that they can hide the cure for cancer, but really sell it on to the highest bidder before they put it out in market. And that's kind of what the story is about. It's giving power back to the people, but also understanding that with power, I know it's a cliche, comes great responsibility. And so he ends up becoming the superhero in what is now New Coast City, which is my idea of a futuristic southern Gulf Coast, where Gulfport, Biloxi, and a lot of these southern coastal towns come together to create a larger city.
Gotcha.
It's a little bit of futuristic, but it's a little bit more militarized because the coast is more developed, but it very much has the same elements like the casino and the crime and the street level crime, but also like the mutagenic and the aliens and all the weird stuff that the people don't see in Batman. You get to see in that one characters, and then he discovers others. I go back and forth on the Jaguar, which is the one that fell in love with his grandmother, comes into the picture, and he becomes a mentor, and you get to see inside the subterranean city of New Tikal. You get to explore the Mayan background and all that.
No, I really like that. And my boy Max says condolences to your family, and then
thank you.
He's had a busy day. He shot. They were live this morning with Eat the Cake Anime, which I got to watch a few minutes of before having to dive in and do some house cleaning and start preparing for this interview. And I'm hitting another interview tomorrow, so I end up days where it's like back to back. Then I got next week. I got 2. It might be 3 back to back now for next week. I can't remember, but yeah, pretty wild.
But yeah, that's Iron Jaguar in a box. I'm super happy for all the crazy crossovers. The biggest one is yet to come. I don't know if you know who Brian J. Lambert is.
I've not heard of him.
Okay, so he is the CEO and creator of Wingless Comics. They did a really great book called Air Force Ones last year, and one of the tiers was if you bought the highest one, you got to put your character, and you got to see your character as a kind of mech character.
Okay,
so
that's really dope.
Air Force Ones is basically Brian Jammert's version of Pacific Rim meets Gundam Wing. It's a fantastic book. Oh, that's really cool. I cannot wait for Iron Jaguar to be in like full cosplay Gundam mech suit. It's going to be fantastic. That's probably the biggest thing I have coming up as far as Iron Jaguar goes. But Wild Oni 2, the issue is almost done. It's almost done being written. I hope to get that out somewhere between summer and fall of this year. And Wild Oni actually ties into, going back to what I was trying to say earlier, ties into the future that connects with Iron Jaguar. I have a cerulean shade. There's a wild samurai in the Iron Jaguar universe, modern day, that is trying to prevent the shard of Morichika's sword in the old Wild Oni series from being reforged and awakening the Wild Oni. And there's kind of like a force behind that's kind of mirrors the Foot Clan or the Hand. That's led by a really just huge kingpin style Japanese corporate tycoon. And I hope to do some shorts with that, because I want there to be some really genuine martial arts, but also ground and pound level fight scenes that kind of mirror, Keanu Reeves his technicality. His Berserker, but also the John Wick stuff too. Just because the visual aesthetics of that leads to more of a cinematic feel. And I would love for something like that to be picked up cinematically for adaptation. That would be really cool. In going back to like the business side of it, regardless of what you want your indie comics to be, my original dream was screenwriting, was getting something on the screen. So every time
there's so many that I get a chance to talk to that their dream was the silver screen. Yeah. And comic books ends up being like their fail safe, or where their path ends up landing them, I guess you could say. Yeah. And I know Jess Silvetti and E.B. Coogan, they actually work in Hollywood. They have movies being produced, and they produce.
It's possible.
So it's possible, absolutely, 100%. And they're great writers in their comic book. Shock-Headed Peter, that's the name I was thinking of earlier. That's the one that Sabe does with E.B. Coogan and Jeff Silvetti.
Okay.
And it's a brilliant comic book. I know they just funded issue number 2, which issue number 1 I have. It was a brilliant read. Issue 2, from what I've got, the sampler that I've gotten, so good. And then at the same time, he announced when he was on the podcast that he had a movie that he was he was producing on, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. And then that movie came out. I'm just like, oh, that's so cool that I kind of got not the breaking news on that, but I got kind of the scoop on it before it actually hit the silver screen. So that was kind of cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's one thing I keep in mind when I write. I always write for the visual, and sometimes I want it to be cinematic for a reason, and it's for that very reason, because Hollywood doesn't do originals very much anymore. I don't know if you've been watching a lot of movies. Very few times I've been impressed by what comes out of Hollywood, the traditional Hollywood, and it's not been much. A lot of it's either echoes of old school action movies, or it's dramedies with a bit of action now. Kevin James did one with the lead actor Eritrea I watched on Amazon, which was really funny.
Yeah, but that was like Kindergarten Cop, and something else had a baby. In that other movie with Triple H with the bus or whatever.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of what it reminded me of. But they were both really funny though.
Oh yeah, they were. Well, it was an interesting dynamic. It's like the white version of Central Intelligence with The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock and
Kevin
Hart.
Yeah, Kevin Hart. That was a great movie. But it's just not a lot of originality. And I know like a lot of my stories are set kind of in the hero genre and the vigilante genre, but a lot of them, they go into things like American Lion goes into very much the Punisher vibe of clearing out organized crime. The Samurai goes into the Wild Samurai goes into very much the street level crime of Tokyo, and it also deals with international and foreign crime as well. Iron Jaguar deals with street level and then eventually, supernatural threats. There's another character that I have. Red Nebula is a man who is created by a billion consciences, and he comes to Earth hoping to do the same thing that Superman and Green Lantern do for DC, and that's to protect his world from being, taken over by this reptilian alien race, which is a mirror of some of the conspiracy theory stuff that go in. So it gets pretty dealt in sci-fi and mysticism, organized crime. So you've got drama, you've got action, you've got emotional tyranny, you've got vigilantism, you have all these different aspects of duality. How do you come up with all the origins? So this is a really cool question. I appreciate that, Mac, aka your boy. Let me break it down for you. The way I came up, and I described this earlier with Wild Oni, was I looked into history, and I was looking for a character to inspire me to create the story of Wild Oni. Like I knew I wanted this character to make a pact with a demon. I knew I wanted this demon to be stuck in a meteoric prison, and I knew that he was going to have a family that tragically died, that motivated him to just see nothing but red in his vengeance when he drew his sword. And so I discovered Morichika, and from that I read his story. There's very little information because there's not a lot of international servers that share. I was unsuccessful in my attempt to reach out to anybody with professional wisdom on Japanese history. I've had to buy like many books to try and piece together cultural things. Video games kind of help fill in the gaps with some of the cultural stuff, like the way they do tea and their mannerisms and how respects works and roles of men and women and husbands and wives and regions and how land policy works and all that. The Iron Jaguar stuff, I just really wanted to do something in Mayan culture. I love the Jaguar. Funny story though, no drugs included. I had a dream, and this dream was kind of like, you ever play Q*bert?
The old school game on Sega?
Yeah, so you jump on the little thingies. They kind of look like the octagon blocks that you set up tabletop games with.
Yeah.
So I was in a dream. I was standing on those, and there were like lights all around this huge, just multi-columned Qbert style game board. And I kept hearing growling, and from that I came face to face with a Jaguar. When I woke up, don't ask me, Iron Jaguar was born. And,
he's a little orange dude. Qbert,
yeah, the little orange dude. And that kind of inspired me. And I was a huge fan of the movie El Dorado from,
as everybody should be.
Yeah, from our past. And the guy that worshipped the Jaguar goddess of death was kind of the inspiration of that lore. And so when I looked into the history of Mayans, I got really infatuated by the clan wars of like the 11th and 12th century. So while you had England over here and Iraq trying to, take Israel in the Middle East during the 11th century, in the South American peninsula, you had all these clans of Native American South Americans warring for, who's going to conquer culture and territory and land. And in South American culture, they take slaves when they take over clans. Women usually become their new wives, and they make more kids, and then that's how they conquer the land over there. But Nutakal stuck out to me because there was this prince who rose up from nothing and saved his clan by basically being smarter tactically than all the other chiefs or upcoming chiefs. He ended up getting a lot of land for his clan up until the time where Spaniards were landing in South America, and they were kind of forcing clans out of territory. And so the resolution for them was to go into other unexplored territory and take over and start anew. And so I was like, well, what if they weren't going to survive this? What if he had to make a hard decision? And it was a hard decision, because with the acceptance of this Nutakal subterranean home that they could never leave came immortality, surrounded by the energy of this ultimate universal power. And that was the gem, and that's what gave him the powers of Jaguar. He was able to, strength and speed and Jaguar-like abilities from, the anime guy spirit that I was kind of drawing inspiration from. Other origins, though, like American Lion, I just wanted to write a Punisher story. It couldn't be Punisher, of course. Yeah. I'm a huge lion. I'm a Leo, so the lion is like, I don't care if people talk bad about lions. They make women go get the food. Like in a traditional marriage, your wife is cooking you dinner. Like, you do all the other important stuff, security and all that. That's not why I made that character. The lion draws in strength. He's not afraid of anybody on the savannah. He doesn't ask anybody for questions, for help. He doesn't ask for permission to go, into a diner and kill whoever he thinks is bad. I know that makes him a vigilantism, but there are some areas of story to explore there that have to do with the morality and some of the more finer points of humanity that are a little darker and more grim, kind of like in some of the Batman stuff from later on, especially like during the Hush years, that I kind of draw inspiration from.
The Hush years are like my favorite stuff, in the current ongoing Hush 2 as well. It's just such a good read. This is my little lion right here. This is Evie.
She's adorable.
And Mac says that's dope, and there's no way I could think of such a creative story like that. Mac, I know you better than that, dude, and I know you can. I've known you for 20 years, bro.
Yeah, that's not even true, and it really doesn't have to be about heroes too. There's been a lot of great characters in comics that weren't heroes. I mean, look at Scott Pilgrim. He wasn't a hero. He's just a guy who wanted a girlfriend, and he ended up having to conquer all these different obstacles.
I'm laughing because that's literally his favorite fucking story.
Is it?
He's a huge Scott Pilgrim fan.
I love the series so much. I was tickled when they made it a movie, and then when I watched the movie, I was like, the books are better. But
the animated story was really good too.
Yeah, they
I hated the fact they canceled it early. See, that's fucking hilarious. Hang on, I told you that's his guy. Yeah, and the moment you said Scott Pilgrim, I was like, dude, that's so funny because Jack loves Scott Pilgrim.
I mean, look at Ready Player One.
Oh, dude, so good.
Not a hero, but he became a hero for everybody else when he saw the
Yeah.
thing that he loved was threatened. Hey, Commissioner Gordon, not a
Yeah.
superhero, but he even stood up to Batman sometimes when he got out the rails. I mean,
Dude,
he
yeah, I
just
watched him put the gun to Batman's face and was like, no, dude, you're going home tonight.
yeah.
Like, that was one
So
of the wildest issues I ever seen is Gordon was like, nah, I'll take you home myself, and held the gun to him. I was like, geez, Commissioner Gordon ain't playing with Batman right now.
look, I read a lot of Oni Press stuff, but only because they publish Rick and Morty. Not heroes, but to a
No,
lot of people,
not no
they're
more.
heroes. Oh,
Oni
not no
Press's
more.
contract ended with Rick and Morty in December of 2025.
That's
So
so sad.
it's I don't know if another company is picking up Rick and Morty, but as of right now,
They're independent.
nobody has Rick and Morty.
Oh man, that's a tragedy. But that, Jerry, not a hero, but he's done some heroic things. It's really all about. So I tell people when I'm in like writing stuff, writing classes, because this year I stepped down to media and communication for the Writing Guild. I was VP, but we did a lot of workshops. I've given a few speeches. I've talked at a few conventions on writing and how to publish comic books. The thing about writing should be the play of creating characters. And one of the coolest things I ever did in a workshop, which I was still learning at the time, my good friend put that workshop on, and it was interviewing a character that you wanted to create. So think about a character that you wanted to create, and then create a list of questions, no more than 5, no less than 4, on what you would ask them about themselves. Like it could be simple as what do you want? Like where were you born? What favorite music do you like? What's your favorite food? Do you have any family members? That line of questioning right there starts this entire kind of like character monologue of
that's a unique way to go about doing that. I actually like that a lot.
And from that, you can create more questions. And if it becomes fun, sky's the limit.
I mean, you can fill up a whole notebook like that, and by the time you're at the end of that notebook, you can extract those answers and have almost a story.
Brother, I have a whole rack of notebooks that would make Michael's look like they don't even have enough.
That's funny because I know exactly what you're talking about, because I've been like writing ideas because I'm developing some stuff as well, and
congrats.
Like you get to that third notebook and you're like, I'm gonna need more notebooks and more shelf space, because all of a sudden,
it gets even deeper.
Zero sense. It makes zero sense, but at the same time, it makes 100% sense to me, because I know what each one of those little sentences and little ideas and this little concept here, I know what that is. Like I know when I wrote Color Splash, I know what I'm talking about,
Yeah. I get to do this from the editor's chair sometimes, and I definitely do this from the writer's chair. If I could give a nugget to your audience.
Please. That's actually like quite literally, it's one of the last questions I ask each time is, what advice would you give creators trying to balance creativity, family, sustainability? Just like, what do you have for other creatives out there?
So much. We could do a whole nother podcast on it, but I'll keep it brief. You don't need a master's degree to be a writer, to be a great author. You don't need a bachelor's degree to be a great editor. I do say that as you study and you learn, you do creative acumen and skills. Those have led me to be just a detailed person who catches things that makes me a great editor. A lot of that, though, is my people skills, which helps me become a good teacher to those who don't know. And you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And then once you know it, you can get better from it. With that led me into the study of amalgamation of different writing techniques, everything from Save the Cat to Dan Harmon's story circles, to the classic hero's journey, and then into the 4-act structure, which is what animes are written in. But the most unique and effective, quick way to create an entire story, 6 questions. It's the 6 essential questions. The first one is, who is it about? Okay, this is going to give you your main character. Okay, and then that's a big thing, because if you're a character writer like I am, don't focus so much on plot. You're diving into the internal and external workings of one character that the reader follows throughout the entire progression of the story. What do they want? What does the character want as far as the current standing of this character? At the beginning of the character and the opening image of your story, where we get the inciting incident, your character wants something. They either failed at something and they want to get better. They lost something and they want to find it. They want something that's really hard to get, and they'll do nothing. They'll do absolutely anything and stop at nothing to get it. What do they want? Super simple. Why can't they get it? So this is where the obstacles come into play. Well, why can't they get that thing that they really want? Why is it so hard? If they lost it, how come they lost it? What happened? That type of thing. What can they do about it? This is the action that solves the obstacles that gets them through. Like, how can they find what they lost? Where do they need to go? It also opens the door to other questions. Why doesn't that work? So there's, towards the end, after like the break into 2, break into 3, which I'm quoting Save the Cat Beats there, where what your hero, what your character does, your protagonist, however you want to define them in your story, what they try doesn't work. There's a cataclysmic event that happens. They try to save it. It doesn't work. Superman tries to catch a rocket. It blows up. People die. He should have caught it higher. He should have used the freeze breath. Whatever he didn't do, it didn't work. And because of that, consequences happen. And that's something to notate in that spot. So once you get done with why doesn't that work, here's the most important question. And this might mess with some people, because not everybody can come up with this right away. How does it end? How does the story end? How does it end? And the reason that's so hard is because there are writers out there who can see where they want to go, but don't know how to start it or how to pad in the middle. Second act of every story is hard. But that's where you have your fun and games. That's where you get to learn about your characters. It's where you get to play with the obstacles. It's where you get to play with your villain or your antagonistic force, whether it's, man versus nature, or man versus man, or man versus machine. You get to do lots of things in Act 2. You just got to know how to finesse it and when to do what and how you want your story progression to go. But these 6 questions: who is it about? What do they want? Why can't they get it? What do they do about it? Why doesn't it work? How does it end? Are so essential to the beginning of your story that it creates enough beats that you can take that to the Dan Harmon story circle, the Save the Cat, or the hero's journey, and you can plug in these elements, and then you can fill in the gaps. That'll help unlock the story. And as you become more familiar with the content, get another notebook and start writing down questions and just start answering them. If you got to interview your character, do that. Maybe interview the narrator, which is the perspective you're going to write your story in, whether you use caption for comics or whether you use third person or first person for novels, is going to be important, because they're going to have to know everything that's going on, because they're the person that's going to tell the reader what's happening. Do that. That's a quick way. I did this for an idea I had called A Toy Store at the End of the Universe just last night. It took me an hour and a half. I have 4 pages of information, 1 of questions, and I'm ready to move on to Save the Cat Beats. I already have the prologue written, and then chapter 1 and 2 are going to be so easy that I'm hoping to pitch by the end of next month. It's super surreal. So I know you said you can't do it, you boy, but you can. You can. Everybody can. Everybody can. I think we just lost the host. The chairman, where did you go? Oh, man. It is.
Yeah, no, damn. I'll be doing some editing later. Thank you, internet service.
But
like I was sitting here listening, all of a sudden I wasn't listening. I was like, I started getting the spins. I was like, that was my internet.
I was about to take off my hat, put the house on. Like, all right, everybody at the USDN, I'm Inevitable Mike. This is not my podcast, but I'm filling in for my buddy, the chairman.
Oh man, like it's funny because it's been so long since something like that has happened that I was just like, you know what? Let me give it a minute. Once the spinning stopped, I was like, refresh, and it was like, boom, pop back in. I was like, all right. Like, geez, that's again, that's like the third time today my internet has gave me the middle finger and was like, nope. And earlier it did it when I was working on stuff for Bruno for in the morning. So I was just like, come on. I'm like, please tell me it saved that part of it. And it didn't. So I ended up rewriting his whole entire interview again because nothing saved on it.
The 6 essential questions that I spoke about, that's not my system. That's a system that I got from watching a dedicated YouTube channel on screenwriting. That system came from an interviewee. I've forgotten his name, but I'll send you the link to the video if you want to put it in the show notes.
Anything you send to me that you want to include it, just shoot it over and I'll put it into the description of the actual YouTube description.
Yes, so we give credit to the right creator for the right thing.
Yeah.
It helped me out a lot, and I've studied story structure at length. Just don't get lost in the structure. The best way to really write down your story idea is to tell it to yourself on paper. This is how I wrote the 35-page outline for Iron Jaguar's graphic novel. When I come out with him, I'm going to go all in, and I just want to do a graphic novel. And if nobody wants it, I'll independently backtrack and create separate issues. But if somebody will pick it up, I'll let them carry the weight of breaking it down into issues and distributing it out. I just want his whole origin story out there because it drops so many characters, including the assassin Moccasin, which I'm super excited about because he debuted in The Black Dahlia, which was another Champions Comics recent Kickstarter that finally mailed out towards the end of 2025, and he's got a plethora of backstory that's super unique, and that's what I tried to do. I try to craft and create unique characters. I would also tell your audience that too, on top of the 6 essential questions for just getting your idea on paper. Try to create characters that are unique and relatable. Don't give in to the trope. The tropes happen. You can't help some of those tropes. A lot of story ideas, they run into each other, but every message is somewhat different. That's okay. But what I mean is don't make an echo that is exactly like your favorite character without it being some type of, spin on the character itself, whether it be, the character inside the suit or the helmet, if you're working in the superhero genre, or whether it's like, if you create your own version of K-pop Demon Hunters, that's fine. Just, I don't know, make them dudes. Maybe they don't sing. They just love K-pop and they get together as a group and listen to K-pop, but they're also Demon Hunters. It's mildly different. And each one of those people would have different personalities from the characters that, inspired you to write this story. Morichika was inspired by the Ghosts of Tsushima video game just because I love the landscape, but not just because of it, but just samurai culture in general.
Yeah.
A lot of the discipline is something that I envy in my own life, my own personal life that I wish I had, that I've been working on for years. It's super hard. I respect the culture. I wanted to tell a story in it. I wanted it to have supernatural characteristics, and I wanted it to be a story of duality. So there's contrast to give the character that also gives something back to the reader, which is really hard to do, but it's that milestone where fun writing becomes professional writing, and professional writing is something that gives you something that you remember long after you've read or watched whatever product you just experienced, which is a lot of the reason why we have nostalgia and sentiment towards a lot of our favorite things, being a part of, the Department of Nerds, Star Wars, early days of Battlestar Galactica, Stargate SG-1, Star Trek, a lot of the sci-fis out there, early superheroes. Jaws, if you're a horror fan, was initially one of the most scariest movies that they ever made because
it was all in the music.
Yeah, not a lot of people knew that their jump scares were a thing. Then you had Jason, you had, my favorite, Leprechaun, Pumpkinhead, the Toy Master. I think it was called something different. Puppet Master, my bad.
Puppet Master,
yeah. Puppet Master is one of my, all my favorite. Like you make toys that murder people. That's cool, dude.
There's been so many rumors that that's getting remade, so you might get a new one of those. Imagine it though with like modern day CGI and all that stuff for that. It's gonna be amazing.
Forget that, man. Like, look, let's jump to the AI thing real quick. I just want to make this known somewhere online. So I have a vision of the future for movies. There's going to be a machine one day. Someone's going to make one. It's going to have AI technology in it. I don't care how you feel about the copyright stuff. Just hear me out. Let's have a fun, quick note about my vision right here. They're going to be a machine that looks like the machine that you get in and take photos of for like $5.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to sit in there. It's going to close. It's going to lock. You're going to be able to create a movie in less than 5 minutes with a few keynotes, a few keystrokes. It's going to ask you, would you like to watch it? You're going to watch it. You're going to be in that box for at least a few hours. At the end, it's going to ask you, would you like to buy the rights to this movie? And then in 2 hours, you can walk away with something that makes you however much money the economy will allow you to at the time that this invention.
I can see that going all kinds of wrongs in so many different ways, and none of them are PG-13.
So there would be some content restrictions on those, I'm sure. At least I hope the future creators of this device would be that fortuitous to think about.
Oh, they won't. That's what's going to maximize their money at the end of the day, because that's what sells.
Maybe. I hadn't considered that up until you said that. But it could be one day that someone can create their own movie. I mean, they're kind of already doing this in the India space. Have you seen some of their like Pixar-like films made from AI? Like, I know there's a big conversation about it, and there's somewhat a subjective conversation to have on how it gets its content. But eventually your copyright dies. Like if Winnie the Pooh coming out as a demon hunter has anything to say about it, or a Winnie the Pooh
was a demon.
Yeah.
I forgot what they're calling that universe, but yeah.
Oh, the ones about the movies.
Yeah, the Betty Boop just hit the.
Did it?
And within a day, they announced they were making it. So people are literally, these companies are tracking when things are coming up, and if they're not being renewed, they're immediately getting the IP and making the horror movie based off of that IP. Like, it's already made because they're dropping it almost immediately. So you could tell that, like the Popeye one that they just did, he hit the market, and within a week, that movie was dropping. So there's no way you could have made that movie in a week unless you were
working on it. You
were working on it beforehand.
Yeah, everybody be quiet. Be quiet. If we play this just right, it'll come out right before, so nobody else can touch us. Yeah, no, exactly. I understand though, but consider this in the conversation of AI, man. Like, people die, and then what happens to it? Your family inherits it. Let's be honest. My kids aren't going to want all my comic shit. They're going to want to sell that. Okay, they're going to want to sell that. They're going to
get rid of those IPs like that.
Maybe not my son, because in his own right, for a 13-year-old, amazing artist, taught himself to animate and color and work in art programs. Super excited for his future. But my daughter's not going to want all my comic shit. She's going to sell it. She's going to sell it and keep some of it that she might have had a part of.
Yeah, Steamboat Willie was one of the first ones that come out.
Yeah,
like it went from Winnie the Pooh to Steamboat Willie, Popeye.
If I'm being honest though, the Steamboat Willie one wasn't that great.
I haven't seen none of them. I don't have the time for it.
It wasn't that great.
My time is spent, writing and researching and getting ready for the next person who comes on after you.
So let's talk about that. What happens next? So like I said, Wild Oni 2, the issue for it, the script is almost done. I hope to put that in the bake before the end of the year. I hope to get that at least finished, not maybe fulfilled, given the track record Wild Oni has. I got a lot of trust earned back from the people that are already back. But I've been staying busy with work here and there on specific projects. What's coming up immediately next is Sweet Pea issue 3, my buddy Alim Johnson. It's an amazing story about a young 14-year-old girl who inherits power after a weird energy takes over the planet, and now the human race has to deal with an Omicron invasion. That's these aliens that come down. They're kind of Draconian based. This issue is called Wild Wind or Deadly Winds. This is the issue that's going to sell the other two and the rest of the series. It is Jeff's kiss, man. It's super wild. if you guys get a chance, click the notification on it, get notified when you're ready. I'm the editor on this book. Me and Alim met during my time and tenure at Ink Studios. We hit it off. We've been great friends ever since. I'm super proud at the progress he's made with this. It's not been an easy journey for him. We all as creators go through personal stuff, me included with Wild Oni, but we all support each other in our endeavors regardless. Even if you're part of the community that's wildly disciplined about getting the product out and the stuff, you can't stop the setbacks. They happen. But Sweet Pea is coming out real soon. I'm super excited about that. Hopefully, if you want to in the future, we can get a limo on and we can talk about it all together.
No, I was gonna say, dude, that looks like a very fun project, and I will include that link in the description of this video when it goes live, both on YouTube again and on all the podcast and platforms that we do through Transistor. So that will definitely be in there, along with any other link that you would like to share. Just shoot them over to me and they'll be included.
Okay.
But dude, that one looks a lot of fun. Like,
it's
love
definitely fun.
And this is what I love about indie comics is you can do anything.
Oh yeah.
There's no restriction. You don't have Marvel or DC with their thumb on you telling you to tell this story.
Yeah.
You're telling a story that you want to tell the way you want to tell it.
Yeah.
And that is what is so great about it. And if you come across a Kickstarter or indie comic that isn't your flavor, I guarantee you 5 more minutes later, you're going to find one that is up your alley and you're going to want to read that one and you're going to want to support that one. And that's what I love. It's like what draws me to independent comics is that.
There's been a few Warbound by company. I don't think they make any books anymore. I haven't heard from them in a long time, but Warbound was a series I was following. Cicada Samurai that came out last year was a good one. All the stuff that Travis Gibbs does with Cthulhu. The one in Alice in Wonderland. I'm about to sit down and read
Forever
that.
After.
Yeah.
Forever by Boom Studios, the third of the trilogy. I think this is the final of that trilogy. And the first, if it's anything like the first two, it's going to be amazing because this is about Alice's daughter and them trying to push Alice's daughter to restart the cycle into the
is there a Cthulhu book by Boom?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, okay. So Travis Gibbs, he runs the Orange Cone and he's got a separate series on Cthulhu Invades. This last one, I think he did Alice in Wonderland. That one was really good.
It's either Boom or Dark Horse that's doing the Cthulhu series. And because there's one called The Death of H.P. Lovecraft, I think. And it's been like top notch. I just can't remember if it was Boom or Dark Horse doing it. I just know that it's been just like a top notch read.
Indie scene's really cool. I'm hoping one day I get to that professional level. I've met some people at publishers, but not enough to get into a conversation or a room to be like, hey, my name is such and such. These are my credits. This is what I do. I'd love to, provide that to any of your properties if I could on anything. At this point, I would love for anybody to give me a shot at a major publishing with no money down, no money at all, actually, on my first book. So if you're out there and you're listening, you need an editor or writer, I'll do it for free the first time just to get my name in the door. But it led to things like my buddy Daniel Garcia, and he hit me up one day. He's like, hey, Mike, I'm doing this crazy thing, and I want you to be a part of it. I'm not really sure how to do it, but I built it up. It's called Shark Force. And he doesn't know I'm talking about it, but I'm going to throw it out there because I know he appreciates when I do stuff for him. But it's a really cool take on kick-ass shark people just kicking ass and taking names, man. It's kind of like mutagenic storylines. Like it's in the ire of 90s action cartoons. Really fun, really light. It's got some kid tones, probably PG-14. Nothing over the top. It does exist in like a superhero kind of universe. There's a few characters in there. It's set in a place called Meteor City. And man, the characters on there. I sent you the artwork if you want to pop it up later in the edit. It's really cool. It really inspired me because I was a big fan of what was that? Was that shark cartoon back in the day?
Street Sharks.
Street Sharks, super cool. So it's about a couple of scientists that go up into space. They get hit with this array, and they were studying sharks in space for some reason, and the DNA collides. They got this kind of Fantastic Four origin story. They crash back down to Earth, and Hammerhead comes out, and a big walking tiger shark comes out. And they're like, oh, and they get picked up by this secret organization that hires them to kind of.
Which one did you say it was?
Shark Force.
There it is.
Yeah. Really cool story, man. This one is in production right now. I think we're on like 12 or 13 pages. I got to do some stuff for him, but as soon as we get it done, we're gonna run the crowdfunding on it. He's going all in on this title, man. He's also the creator of Zyber Ronin, did Fast Girls, Atomic Vamp last year. So he's put out some really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Yeah, that's the logo on it, and
Shark Force, man.
You had sent me a lot of stuff, and I was just like,
I tried to label the files.
You did a really good job of labeling them. It's just my computer didn't want to help me extract files, so I was just like, "Come on, dude, work with me. Work with me."
I used to use WeTransfer, but I hear on the wire they've changed their policy. So yeah, man, that's been blasted all over Facebook.
Yeah, this is really dope. I like it. I love concepts like this, dude.
It's really fun, man. We're just a bunch of dudes just loving cartoons, wanted to create something of the same genre.
This is like one of those where like you would be sitting down Saturday morning to watch cartoons and eat some Cocoa Puffs, I'm
so glad you said that, man. He's gonna be so excited. That's exactly how he wants it to hit when it comes out.
Nah, he definitely nailed that one.
Yeah,
but
let's came to me out the blue with that idea. It's indie comics, man. City Comics for sure. Did you freeze? I think he froze. Anybody out there who's listening or watching live, you got any questions? I'm all about the questions. If you got questions, ask now. We'll wait for Mr. Chairman to come back. Stay tuned as USDN works out its technical difficulties. Until then, you get to stare at my somewhat attractive, yet not so attractive mug. It's actually good for comics, just, maybe not for television. So acting was out of the question. Anybody out there still listening? I'm Sir Mr. Chair, and I'll be back shortly.
Sorry about that.
And there he is. Welcome back, Mr. Chair.
Right. If it's telling me anything, it's telling me that we need to be wrapping it up.
Gotcha.
So let's hit some rapid fire questions and we'll close it out real quick.
Sure.
Favorite superhero?
Daredevil.
Superpower?
Ooh. Flying.
I like it. What is your writing soundtrack, or do you just prefer the quiet?
Writing soundtrack?
Yeah.
Cyber lo-fi.
Ooh, good one. I've been known to dip my toes into that one as well when I'm writing.
Yeah, it's really
coffee or late night snacks. I know for me, I'm a coffee guy.
Yeah, no, it's late.
As you've seen when we were. I'm definitely a coffee guy.
Yeah, unfortunately.
One word to describe indie comics right now.
Inevitable.
God damn, that's a good answer. Holy shit, that's a good one. I love that one. All right, Michael, where can people find you and your work?
You can find me really mainly on Facebook. I haven't really gotten too heavy into the Instagram posts. I'm testing the waters on TikTok.
You are a hard man to keep in touch with.
I got so much to do, man. It's really hard to put social media down. So Facebook, you can go check out any of my later podcasts for Comics and Pop Tarts on any one of the major listening streams, Amazon, all the other ones that I forgot since it's been so long since I've done any of that. I'm still out there. They still got my hyperlinks in there to my Facebook, my Instagram. Hopefully we'll have a Substack soon where I put out shorter stories, visual stories, even some like webtoon comic stuff. Working on that for 2026. Hopefully this will be a good year. But yeah, come check me out on Facebook.
Perfect, dude. Mike, I want to thank you for coming on tonight and dealing with me and my internet issues.
That's all right, man.
Again, I'm going to have some editing to do, but that's what we sign up for.
Yeah.
The USDN will be live again tomorrow morning with Bruno Catarino at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 3 p.m. UK time, to talk about his new Kickstarter, Flame Volt, which is live now. I just dropped the links to that out on social media if you want to go have a look at that one and check out that Kickstarter. And with that, it brings us to the end of tonight's conversation. Huge thank you to Michael for joining us and sharing his journey through writing, editing, crowdfunding, building meaningful stories in indie comics. Make sure you follow his work, support creator-owned projects, and keep an eye out for what he's bringing next. And as we've seen, Sweet Pea is looking to be a phenomenal book. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's the best way to help us continue spotlighting indie comic creators and keeping this industry moving forward. Until next time, this has been the chairman in the United States Department of Nerds, where indie comics come to life.
It's a trap!